Honestly, Poppy, I know she has a lot going on, right? Like this is everyone's dream, right? Like, come on.
It's very, very strange. How what I what why are they
Welcome to the Story Tinker podcast, a place for in-depth analysis of stories, mainly from Webtoon. Co-hosted by sharp, witty, and dare I say, thirsty fans, we dive deep in every episode, analyzing character struggles, relationship development, and of course, theories. We also interview people working in creative industries. You can follow the Story Tinker on YouTube, podcast platforms, and social media. For bonus content, sneak peeks, and more, you can support the Story Tinker on Patreon. We're really appreciative of your likes, subscribes, follows, comments, and ratings on all platforms. Thanks for listening to The Story Tinker, and let's get started. Quincy watches Poppy walk off on the compound and decides to have a heart-to-heart with Tora from the other side of the door. We flash back to Tora buying the house with a very strange name on his ID and a sympathetic Quincy supporting him, all because Poppy said maybe. The maybe prompted Tora to dash to Quincy's house in his underwear, buy a house, and stuff it full of cheap household goods. We get insight into his thoughts and his worries that Poppy will never speak to him again, and Quincy gives him some good advice about sharing his plans with people so he doesn't come off as controlling. Sadly, the rest of his advice is lost on the irate Tora. We get a fourth wall break as Quincy dispenses more words of wisdom, for which we love him. Quincy pays Poppy a visit, cleverly distracting her from her crying with his jokes. Just when we thought we were done, we open to Poppy's strange dream of a giant elephant seal trapping her in a car. Poppy then awakens to a room in the complex where she, Tora, and Quincy are all in one cuddle puddle in their underwear. How did they get there? We try to guess, and then throw all reasons to the wind and guess wildly in our bonus episode.
Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 97 of Midnight Poppyland. And today we're here with Seazar from the Seazar Fix and
Hello.
Sarah.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
We're microphone shy today.
Yeah. Well, I am sure you will not be microphone shy as we talk about the episode. So, Seazar, take us off.
Okay, so we are starting in the beautiful manor that Tora bought, and it's just Quincy looking out to Poppy. She seems to be like just walking around the compound, I guess, and he's letting out a big sigh, and then we see him basically coming back to Tora, who was sulking in the entrance.
I just want to say about Quincy right away. You can tell he's got a good heart. You know, he sees her walking away, and he's clearly sad that she is sad.
Yeah,
so he's an empath.
Yeah. So Tora is just sitting on the floor, and Quincy says, "Sorry, bud. I know you wanted to keep this on the down low till she isn't giving you the cold shoulders anymore." He slides the door open, I guess, but he doesn't go in the same room with Tora. He just sits on the opposite side. But you saw the relief on her face, didn't you? At least she knows she'll be safe here, even if she's pissed. And then we get.
So what do you think of the fact that they're both sitting down on opposite sides of the door?
I honestly think that this is Quincy being very in tune with Tora's personality. You know, because I don't know, Tora is not one for heart to hearts, with Poppy for sure, but not always with Quincy. He's not always down for it. And I think that maybe Quincy feels like it's easier if he just sits there with his back to Tora, and then Tora doesn't feel forced to have to respond. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's really a nice tactic. What did you think?
Well, I think it's just him giving him the space he needs, but it's he also wants to comfort him. So what a best way to do that than be in the same room but just have your back turned to the person you're trying to console.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this way Tora, he doesn't have to see his face, he doesn't have to regulate his facial expressions. It's less intimidating for him.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. And we get a little flashback to Poppy when she first arrived at the manor, saying like it's Tora's, basically, when she found out. And I quite like that we got a context to this, because when like she first realized that it was Tora's, it's kind of hard, I think, sometimes to read her facial expression. So I enjoyed that Quincy pointed out it was relief.
Mhm. Right. I thought it was anxiety.
Yeah, like I'm sure we've all been there, you know, it's either us consoling someone while, you know, just like not look at them, or we're that person, you know, we want someone to console us, but we just don't want to see the person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we get a pretty sight of Tora's undercut. I like it a lot, so I'm very happy about this.
Yeah.
But we hear Quincy saying, and I really doubt she'll think you're buying her off with money or seeing her as a charity case like what you're worried about. That's Gyu, not Poppy, and the situation's different. Then we have a little flashback image of Gyu back from the fight in Poppy's apartment, where he like says, and be a fucking charity case, because he didn't want Tora to just pay him.
Mhm. I wonder if this also a reference, you know, when he says that's different, if there's some information that we don't know yet about Gyu and his backstory.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot we don't know.
Yeah, like we still have to see. We're like, I'm also waiting for that flashback story of Gyu. Like, what is it that, you know, that Tora and Quincy had to do for him, like, for his life to be saved?
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. That we've known that for a long time, and we still haven't found out what it actually is.
Hmm.
So Tora lets out a sigh, and he rests his head against the sliding doors.
Aww.
Quincy says, and even if she won't necessarily agree with how you do it, she'll at least appreciate your effort to keep her safe. I'm pretty sure of that. And then this hit me in the feels. I didn't know what to make of this at first.
Mhm.
We see like a document that's about the like purchase agreement, and off like screen somebody says, sir, is this your full name? And Tora's like, yeah, why? And it's TO or 012A. Do you want to talk about like the theories people have been putting out about it?
Yes, I was like a dummy when I first read this, and I was like, oh, Tora just didn't connect his R. But yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, at first I thought it was like, is that a 12 he put in the middle for some reason, or is it just like an R he didn't like properly spell it right?
But I feel like the little slash in the 0 is another indication that like it's not an O.
Yeah. And
And
also
then
the
you have to
one, the one is
Yeah.
pretty clear that it's a one. It has the two little things on top and bottom.
Yeah. But so I'm curious, right? Do you think, like, you know, sometimes you have like a robot that's, you know, spelled with like numbers and letters that kind of look like they could be a name, so you make a name out of it. Do you think it was numbers and letters and it became Tora? Or do you think like a lot of people are saying this was like an orphanage identifier?
I think it's something like that or a volume identifier. And I think so because the fact like that Quincy then puts his arm around Tora, like to be like, oh, it's okay, bro, you know, go for it. And comforting him when he's asked about the name, I do think that the name has some negative associations for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm like getting from this.
I think, yeah, the most common theory that I saw was that it's like T for Tora, 12 is like just an identifier number basically, and then that the A could be for his last name. And people were suggesting it might be Asura because of Asura's bride.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because we do have confirmation that he's descendant from that clan.
That is such a good idea. I like it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, I've never heard of an orphanage just giving children weird codes that then become their like identity card names.
I don't know. Maybe they called him Tora, but that was like his legal name.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna go with like Balthuman adopted him at a young age, I can see them being like heartless and cruel enough to do that.
Yeah. Very
And then
true.
Tora kind of like reclaiming it maybe and being like, okay, I'm going to make it my own. You're not going to put me down with this. I'm going to adopt it and make it, be proud of it.
Yeah.
Make it a name that everyone fears.
Yeah. I'm very curious. My first response was like, oh, why does Tora have a robot name?
It's so sad. It's so sad.
I know, it's just very dehumifying. Dehumanizing?
Humanizing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
been a long day.
It's okay. None of us can speak Dutch, so like you're speaking English fluently, like we're fine.
I don't speak Dutch either. I speak only German.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny. Okay, never mind. Well, we don't speak German, so
yeah. But yeah, in that panel you describe where like Quincy is putting his arm around him. We also hear the person that was talking before say like, oh, it's just very unique. I see here, it's in your ID. Okay, then. So we know it's his identity card name. And then I think this is like Quincy's voiceover. That Saturday after he'd received the call from Poppy in the morning. And then we get another flashback in the flashback. Saying, I'm just asking, but if I change my mind, when can we leave? And then Tora bursts into Quincy's house and it says that he came from home and he's just in his boxers saying like, Quince, and they have bananas on them.
What? Did he just like, did he hop in his car? Was he running through the streets with boxers? Like, how did he get there?
I have heard people say that like they wonder if he lives close. I know some people thought that he lived underneath, but I think that was not the case because his building looks not like Quincy's building. And Lily has confirmed that he does have a room, like, or has like a small apartment next to Quincy's apartment. But I don't think that's what meant when it says he came from home. So potentially he did like a rather big distance. And he's super disheveled and he just says, I want to buy a house.
Oh my God, this guy.
Yeah.
And he like turns to Quincy, of course, because like at the end of the day, he knows Quincy is helpful and probably knows about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Quincy would know about real estate, I think. But yeah, Quincy looks also super groggy, like he was just in bed and Tora woke him. And then Quincy says, like, a doghouse? Tora's like, a human house. Which website sells them? This made me laugh so hard. Like, yeah, maybe you can find one on Amazon.
So funny. And I love how Quincy is like hugging a pillow to himself to like cover his nakedness to the camera, to Tora.
Maybe it's also just for comfort. He's like, I wish I was still in bed, so I'm gonna bring my bed with me.
No, he's wearing boxers. You can see boxers.
Feeling we're just not ready yet to see Quincy without a shirt. I mean, some of us couldn't barely handle Tora without a shirt. I don't think we could handle Quincy without one.
Well, we saw him. Didn't we see him back when he was with Cordy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I mean, oh yeah, that's right.
I remember.
When we found out that he has 2 Baltimore tattoos, which is extreme.
In the bathtub, yeah.
But yeah, he says, wait, you have a laptop? Since when? Oh, sorry, wrong question. Why the sudden urge to buy a house? I've been asking you to invest in property for years now. And Tora's like typing hectically. He's like, she said maybe. And Quincy's like, maybe? Maybe to what? Bitch, did you propose to Poppy?
Yes, I love Quincy. Such a drama queen, gossip girl. Oh my God.
He's amazing. He's amazing. And Tora doesn't even answer. He's just like, how about this one? How to own multiple properties with only $10 in your bank. And it's like, bitch, that's a scam. And now's not the time to be cheap. My God.
Is Tora really that naive? Like, does he really not know anything?
I think it's just nothing he ever thought about before. You know? like maybe he just doesn't think he's gonna grow old in the first place.
Yeah, I think he's remember I talked about my absent-minded husband. So yeah,
Mhm.
like he's very focused on the things he wants, and anything else is like it just passes him in one ear and out the other. So I guess yeah, you're right. Never thought about it.
Yeah. Also with the multiple cars, you know, I feel like Tora is someone who spends money on a whim.
Mm.
You know, he's like, man, that's a dope car, like gonna buy it. Or like, last time, I don't know, I had to drive my red car for a long distance and doesn't like it, so I bought another one. Gets that from Quincy too. I mean, Quincy's voiceover says, through sheer luck and after Gyu ran his background checks, we found a place in a clan neutral town by noon, vacant. So Tora's princess could move in as soon as she gave the word.
I like Quincy's the way he's thinking about Poppy is like
Yeah.
he's aware that he is in the palm of her pocket. What is it? Palm of her hand.
Yes.
Metaphors.
In the palm of her pocket is really cute though. But Tora is really nervous, man. He snapped how many pencils?
Oh my goodness. No,
Two, 3. Yeah, 3.
now we know the reason why when he said like in an earlier episode in season 1 that he can barely hold a pen, and now we see why.
Good point. Good point.
That's true. That's true. But he apologizes. Quincy looks bored as hell.
I love his face right there.
He's also so colorful. Oh my gosh.
Right, it's not a pencil.
Yeah, you're right. It's a pen. Huh.
Yeah, because I just saw that there's like ink splattering out of it. I missed that before. Wow.
Mhm.
And the woman's just like, oh, it's okay. And then this other woman looks over and is like, psst, are you two getting engaged?
Snoopy.
And Quincy's like, wouldn't you like to see that, hun? And he winks, and then Tora snaps another pen.
And that one was out of annoyance. You could tell in his face.
Yeah.
I love Quincy. Quincy is so hilarious. Also,
Yeah.
the lady's hair is just beautiful. It's like swooping. She has beautiful hair.
She needs to be in one of those L'Oreal Paris commercials.
Yes.
Yeah, true. And Tora says, shit, sorry, can I have another? Oh, please use all the peens. I mean, you need. I think these ladies are the reader inserts. You know? Like Quincy's not impressed. He's like, on second thoughts, don't bother.
Really, wait. The romance sex writer is annoyed that people are being sexual about them. Really?
But I think it's maybe because of what comes after, because he says, don't bother, our offspring will be a monstrosity. She's just like, oh, what a shame. Yeah, this is the third one he snaps, and he says jog. No, is this a
Yeah,
jog?
I think he's trying to be clean.
Oh,
Respectful.
yeah, try to maintain a professionalism, but
wow. Wow, that's impressive though. I didn't even
actually Seazar, I curse in Dutch. I say Godverdamme. And it's not so bad.
Oh my goodness.
oh yeah, in Spanish, it's like your parents don't care if you curse in English, but it just sounds apparently much worse in Spanish if you curse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's not their real language. Yeah.
Yeah, this is sweet. He didn't make an effort for Poppy, but now he's making an effort.
Well, he wants to buy the house. So
So Quincy says, okay, so it was luck and more than a little brute force. That weekend, he ran around like a headless chicken in a mad rush to fill up his paperwork as his first-time homeowner and to make his full payment for the house in cash. Because that's how the mafia roll. Actually,
and people into Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, but I mean, can you imagine when he shows up with this many like sacks of cash to pay? You're like, yeah, this is definitely dodgy.
I know, right? It's funny. It's like he's trying to be conspicuous, shows up with cash.
Yeah, I guess for the homeowner, like the seller, it doesn't really matter if they get their cash. Like if they get their money, I don't know. I probably would be a bit scared. Dora's huffing because he's been running around like a headless chicken. He's like, that enough? And the guy's like, I'll need time to count the rest out, but please feel free to move in whenever you're ready. Oh, this is the real estate agent.
Mm.
The money's like sparkling. It's like, holy shit. The manor's been abandoned for a few years now, and it isn't in the worst shape. It's just more trouble than it's worth for the previous owner, but it isn't cheap either. Beautiful shot of the manor, by the way.
Somebody had to be taking care of that landscaping over the past couple of years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it doesn't look abandoned.
Mm.
Poor Sod had to put up a couple of his beloved cars for sale just to make the full sum, though it's nothing he can't recoup with a few choice assignments if he chooses to.
So we learned from here, he makes a lot of money with his assignments. If all he needs is like, let's say 3 assignments to buy a freaking house. Whoa.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I remember in the first season, he asked for like a pay raise as well, but I don't think that would have been this significant. Like, I think he probably made a lot of money already.
A lot. And obviously the fact that, if he chooses to shows us that he's choosing not to. He's turning down assignments, it sounds like.
Yeah. But also, are you like not a little bit surprised that Vincent is paying him a lot?
Yeah, right? I am.
Yeah, like do you think he get paid like more than 100 for every assignment? Probably gets paid more than 100.
Right. I mean, again, we don't know the narrating economy, but like, let's say minimum 300,000, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of money.
Yeah, like I get it if Tora was some hire that Vincent is paying to literally murder people, because the risk to go to jail is so huge that the payoff has to be immense. But he literally raised Tora to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm still like, I mean, we're so far into season 2, and I'm still unsure a little bit of what the actual dynamic is and like what the actual agreement is and how did they get here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. And Vincent also has a lot of money to throw around, apparently.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Right, Sarah, it's your turn.
Okay, so now it's on a Sunday night, Nard City, at a shopping district. Slam. Christ, who the fuck knew setting up a house is this exhausting? Barely got the shit what we need before all the shops closed. And then you hear Quincy say, "That's because you cheap, bro." And it's like, it is I do remember, like, I've only ever lived in a house one time in my lifetime. The rest it's like apartments I lived in. But I do remember the first time I moved into a house, that was like a lot of pain. Like when in the apartment where I lived in when I was growing up, like my parents tossed out a bunch of old things and tried to get new ones. And my mom was just so exhausted trying to like buy like new like furniture, like a new table, like just like all these like random little items just to make the house look nice. So that just gave me like a flashback of that one time in my life I moved into a house.
His bag that he's clutching is hilarious. It's like, hurry up, mega clearance, massive discounts.
Yeah. But I was confused because he's like, oh, like it took forever. And it's like, that's because you're cheap. But if you're cheap, you're just buying everything from the same shop, right? Like I would think if you were going for sales and things like that, doesn't it go quicker? Because you're just like in Walmart buying a table. I don't know. You can buy tables at Walmart, right? You can buy everything.
Yeah.
Or IKEA, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like you would think like Tora with all this like money he has, he'd go to some store like IKEA or something instead of going to like a little shopping district.
Yeah, because like, I mean, I don't know how it is there, but here the big chain stores, like that's the cheap stuff. Like every single apartment is probably going to have an IKEA kitchen, or it's going to be way more expensive because at IKEA you just get everything. But I would think it takes a lot more time to be like, okay, we're going to get a table from this like special shop that, does specifically like oak tables or whatever.
Yeah.
So I would have thought it goes quicker, but maybe he was just like sales scouting and he was like, no, this is expensive. I don't know.
Yeah, and I can see him being the type to care. Like I'm very into aesthetics, so I would be like somewhat picky. And I can see for him, like, yeah, if he's going for price, I don't know, price only and not like aesthetics or any, I don't know, convenience or whatever. Quality.
He's like, here, I have these coupons.
But speaking of, now that you mentioned coupons, I wonder, did he get those what was it, apparently some type of like ointment or something that Gyu had back in season 1?
He
Something
wanted
about
tea.
coupons about
Yeah.
stuff. I wonder if he ever shopped for those.
So, it makes more sense now because we know. So I think we were wondering back then, we're like, oh, Quincy, why don't you just buy it for Gyu, right? But now we know Gyu doesn't like to be a charity case. So it makes more sense that he's like, oh, I'll give you coupons,
Yeah, exactly.
All right. And then we hear Tora saying, shut the fuck up. Anyway, those are coming in on Tuesday, so I'll need to be around. And I already got the 3 R's. The 3 R's, which is a refrigerator, a rice cooker, and a rifle. What else do I need to get?
Nice. I think those are very specific 3 R's, Tora. They're not our 3 R's.
Which is also like, he's packing the house for Poppy, right? Like, he has rifles. Is he getting one for her? Couldn't he just put one of his in there? Like,
I think he's getting one for that location. He's like, oh, I have in my apartment and I have in this house.
fair enough, yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, it's, I guess Quincy saying, but I guess after all the excitement died down, the poor fella started getting cold feet again. And then we hear Tora saying, and before you get on my back with your fucking beds again, this is the last time I'm doing shit for her without telling her first. So shut your damn mouth about this, at least until I'm ready to tell her. She's mad enough at me for being alive. That was
self-aware. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you understand what he meant though?
I think he meant like getting beds for them, because we clearly see at the end of the episode they don't have any beds. So I guess.
But also, like, he's equipping the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's not getting beds. Like, he's like, yeah, I equipped the whole house behind her back. I put a rifle, refrigerator, rice cooker, and bought all this stuff on sale. But yeah, I'm not gonna put beds because maybe she doesn't want to move in. Like,
I know, yeah. Maybe he feels like beds are too personal to get.
Or yeah, or was it like a thing where Quincy's like, how many beds are you gonna get? Like,
yeah,
1, 2, like.
And he's saying yeah, fucking bed, so he means for Quincy and Poppy to be there. It sounds like. So, which is interesting. I didn't like that he's already planning for both of them to be there.
Oh, I took it as like when someone's on your case about something, even though it's like your business, it's like, okay, shut up with your fucking whatever, you know. So I took it to mean the yeah is more like the nagging about the bed, but we don't know because.
Well, yeah, you know what, Tora, because he doesn't sleep on a bed, maybe he doesn't realize how important it is to most people.
Oh, good point. He's like, Poppy can sleep on the floor. Are you kidding? She does.
Yeah, and also maybe the thought of food is like a first top priority thing, and the rifle is also top priority thing.
Rifle and rice cooker.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll find out next episode, given what happens at the end of this episode.
Yeah, I have to remember though, when I furnish the house in The Sims, it's gonna be all the cheapest shit.
Yeah, right.
It's gonna break all the time.
So now we see Tora pause, and this like made me like feel sorry for him. He's like, and I'm not sure if we're even still. And then Quincy says, if you're even still together. And then he says, even still friends, forget about being together. Yeah. I'm like, no, you're not gonna forget about being not being together. You'll work it out. You guys will work it out. You always do.
Mhm. But I am happy that Tora is aware of what's going on. Like he
Yeah.
understands how she's feeling. Because if he wouldn't be aware, that would just show a lack of emotional understanding, and that's not good for a relationship. So the fact that he understands how she feels is good.
Yeah.
I can acknowledge it.
And then we hear Quincy say, fine, fine. I swear upon the Alton clan's honor, I'll shut my mouth for real.
Which he doesn't do.
Yes. And then he apologizes, saying, sorry for blabbing on you all the time. And then he says, okay, so I also bragged about his connections with the, how do you guys pronounce this? I can't pronounce that.
Yeah.
By CEO to Erdine and Jacob, but he deserved credit for that one, and I won't apologize.
So A, Quincy's funny. B, so I realized that Odilphi is probably like a variation of the ad agency Ogilvy, but I'm 100% sure that Lily chose to say Odilphi just for our own fun.
And then Quincy's like, listen, Boo, here's what I think about this whole matter. I know you're a low-key kind of guy. I mean, I know you have to be to survive the clan, but even when you're trying to help people out, you just do your thing without telling anyone because you don't expect anything in return to begin with. Which that is like really sad to hear.
Yeah.
And kudos to Quincy for saying this. You know, it's not always easy to talk to your friends, especially someone like Tora who doesn't like to talk about his feelings and usually rebuffs Quincy if he tries to talk serious. But Quincy's doing it because he feels it's the right thing to do and he feels he has to tell Tora this. And I respect that about Quincy, that he's
me too.
pushing it.
It's like Tora, like maybe like I don't know. This is just me, but I feel like Tora like I don't know if this is the right word I'm looking for, but I feel like Tora doesn't respect himself, and he probably doesn't feel like he should respect himself given like what he does, but he should. Like he has like the only two like people like within like his group, well not just the two, where I don't know about the others like Brian and Pinky, but like Giyu and Quincy, they like don't see him as just this like mafia type of person. Like they know he's like a real human too, like with feelings and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we already knew that Tora was probably just acting in a way that he thought was right, or like that he was used to, he went into his default like problem solving method. But I really appreciated kind of seeing it, like getting it explained properly a little bit from Tora's side. And I still think that Poppy has every right to be mad. And I still think he didn't go about it the right way. But it's just been confirmed that like he just went about it the kind of only way he knew. And and that he just maybe doesn't feel like he's not used to getting sort of appraisal or like not appraisal, praise for things.
Yes.
Although I also don't think he does it to expect praise or anything like that. But he's just someone who has to get things done quickly and quietly, and then they're done, and then he's fixed it basically.
And I appreciate the fact that you can see things from both of their perspectives. Like they can both be right and their feelings are justified. You can have sympathy for both of them. And I think that's fantastic because I know like in my own life personally, like whenever you have clashes with someone that is generally a good person, a lot of the times it just comes down to the person's background, personality, history. And once you understand that, you have a lot more sympathy and then you can work it out. And it might not be like an easy fix, but you at least understand that it's not something meant maliciously.
Yeah. Can I share like a little anecdote or whatever? I recently had a fight with like my best friend because I would send her things about my wedding, to get her opinion, but she would like react kind of negatively. And then I spoke to her about it. She was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't react negatively at all. And I was like, well, your first response is always kind of critical instead of first uplifting and then asking questions. The thing is, she had a loss in her family last year. So I've been not wanting to overwhelm her. So I would only send her things when they were like close to the end. And then as we talked, I found out that she felt like she was the last to hear about anything, you know, like I would only come to her when her opinion didn't matter anymore. But on the other side, actually, she was the only one I was sharing the things with, but I was trying not to overwhelm her with the information. But she was like, no, I actually want to be involved in all of the steps. So we were both kind of trying to protect each other and trying to do the right thing for each other, and ended up hurting each other, you know, because she felt left out and I felt like she was being, you know, not very excited or not very, you know, helpful or whatever. And sometimes, like, my point with this is sometimes you're doing something for the right reasons, but the way it arrives with the other person and the way it affects them is completely contrary to what you were trying to achieve. And I feel like that's a little bit the case here, because he was trying to do everything right for her and he was trying to protect her. But when you see it from Poppy's point of view, she felt like she was being overridden, like she had no autonomy, she couldn't make her own decisions. So yeah, they probably just have to talk about that to clear the air.
Yep. That is such a good story. And that really does show like how communication is so crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, wonderful, insightful story by Lily. It's so mature.
It's really good. That's why we're here.
Yep. And so now we see Quincy say, and maybe it's because I'm more self-centered, but I feel differently about that. And I think sometimes being low-key might work against your favor, especially times like these when you're already on her shit list.
So I want to pause for a second.
Okay.
I love what Quincy said. And he's like, maybe it's because I'm more self-centered. I feel differently about that. So there's a lot of things I love about Quincy. And one of them is like, I relate to him a lot because I think I have a lot of like his qualities, which is dramatic, likes being the center of attention, gossipy, over the top. And I like that he acknowledges that about himself and like isn't embarrassed. Like I always say about myself, like I'm arrogant and you know, whatever. I'm like maybe sometimes too spontaneous, whatever. Like and one of the things I love about like being older is that I can acknowledge my faults and like I recognize that my faults have flip sides. Like they're both good and bad, right? Every characteristic has that. And I'm not embarrassed about that. And I love how Quincy's like that too. He's like, yeah, I'm self-centered. That's who I am.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah. And then he says, it might start looking to her like you're being sneaky or manipulative or controlling, like some kind of confirmation bias, and you don't want to end up there. And then he also says, and no shade, I love that girl, just calling as I see it. And he says, as the Chinese saying goes, you wouldn't get that shit off you even if you jumped into the Yellow River. And then he also says, but also there's another thing.
So what do you think first about his statement, that his analysis of how it appears to Poppy?
Nail on the head.
Down the head.
Yeah, this guy needs to be a psychologist, man. So smart.
Hey,
He probably watches a lot of Dr. Phil.
yes, I was
Like
about
Tora
to say
knows
that.
about
Like at this point, we need to get Dr. Phil on here and just sit both of them down and talk it out.
Yeah. I think the only thing is like it already looks like he's being sneaky and controlling and manipulative. Which is probably why Poppy didn't trust him immediately when he told her she should go to a safe house and stuff like that. And like when they told her the whole story, she was like, well, apparently, and she didn't really trust it anymore because she was like, well, now I don't know how much value I can put on your word.
Yeah, and you know that was also reminding me of the Moonbright arc, when they're both at you know, her grandma's house, when Poppy said, like, you know, trusting people, that's not something she's good at. Like, you know, after her mom leaving, Jewelry cheating on her, and like that really like got to me.
Yeah.
It's like the one person that her herself said that, you know, she's starting to like slowly like, you know, like trust him, and then all of a sudden this happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, well, the thing, like, I know Shade, I love that girl. Two thoughts. Number one,
I was wondering whether to talk about it or not.
I feel like Lily at this point, I don't see the love triangle happening. And I really hope it doesn't. But I think Lily knows we're talking about it. So she's just like, I'm just going to emphasize the love here. Like, sprinkle some bread crumbs for the people who are like, is there going to be a love triangle? So I thought that was really funny. I think she did that on purpose, to be honest, which I love. But also, doesn't it feel a little bit out of nowhere?
Yes. Yes.
Right? Like,
Yes.
do you love that girl? Like,
So I don't know. So if you don't think there's going to be a love triangle, why do you think Lily put those blushes in and the look the last couple episodes?
I mean, I don't know anything 100%. I know that for me, we're a little bit too deep in the story to start that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a huge breach of trust. Like Quincy and Tora, like that I mean, look at what Tora's doing, and Quincy's witnessing it all, right? If he would now go for Poppy, like Quincy's going from here straight to the fucking trash. Like, no. And I really like the analysis I've seen some people do where those looks and stuff like that was a little bit like, yeah, I can see now why Tora likes her, because when they were in Moonbright on the phone, Quincy's like, yeah, I would have never encouraged you to see her if I had known there was actual feelings involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the look that they had at Poppy's apartment block, where she was like at the mailbox, could have been like oh, you really care about Tora, even though you're really mad at him, you want to hear more about him, you want to like still learn about him, and you still like him. The butt wiggle, I don't know, that threw me off. I was like, but then I'm just like, you know, if I was Lily, she deals with so much shit from fans, honestly. Like, you know, people are like, don't put it, I like undercut, like whatever.
Oh
It doesn't matter. I would just want to troll my fans as well, you know, and I really hope that's what she's doing. I really hope Lily's just like, you know what, I'm gonna make you think there's a love triangle, but there isn't. So that's what I'm hoping. But I just think if it would happen, it would be really bad for the probably most important relationship with another person that Tora has.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Do you thought it's happening, or?
Well, I want to first hear from Sarah, because I mean, I said what I thought last week, but yeah, let's hear from.
Well, for me, like, okay, it's like I'm still like in between. Like, I want to see like maybe there's just like a difference. Like maybe it's just like attractiveness he has towards her, but not like for like an actual like feelings type, because he knows how important Poppy is to Tora, and we all know he will not do that. But at the same time, and I know this is probably too early to say, but we don't know if like in the future chapter, in order like saying, well, in order to keep Poppy safe from Vincent, like we know there could be that chance where, you know, Quincy might like introduce Poppy to Vincent and just say like you know, pretend that that's like his girl, because he knows like if he knows that, because if Vincent finds out like, you know, Tora, Poppy, and the Notebook, all three together, that is just gonna be ugly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
like I want to say maybe there's chance of that happening. I don't know. It's like so confusing, and it's like hard to like say like.
Yeah. But then it would be fake, right? Like it wouldn't be a real thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like we'll do both. I definitely think that it's very possible like Quincy will have to fake being Poppy's boyfriend, but I also think, and especially because given the fact that they're both from clan, you know, Poppy threw in that fact that she's mafia too, so it could be that there'll be like a proposed arranged clan marriage or something between Poppy and Quincy. And I do think that it's possible that Quincy will start liking Poppy and be confused about his feelings for her, and then feel guilty because of what he's doing to Tora, and then it could cause drama. But I know Patty says that she thinks that he'll fall in love with, not he'll think he loves her, but really he just like really likes her platonically as a friend. So I think that's pretty plausible. I think also Quincy is not the kind of person who's, don't think he's received real love from someone yet in a relationship. And I think that for him to, I think that it's appealing to him to be in, to see someone who has the capacity to love generously and truly. And I think that that's tempting for him. And I think that he'll want that. So I do think that there's the potential for that drama. But yeah, I don't think it'll be endgame at all.
No, I mean, yeah, I would personally, I think, not enjoy it, but I'm not a love triangle person in general. I do not thrive on them at all. But also, I don't know, like I could have seen it if now that Poppy's not talking to Tora, she would be talking to Quincy a lot. And like he would be keeping her company, you know, and you have this like longer arc of them spending a lot of time together or whatever. I guess kind of like, you know, the Twilight thing, Edward's gone, Bella's like, oh, I only have Jacob, so why not? But with the end of this episode, she's not in Quincy's arms. She's not half naked in Quincy's arms. That's all I have to say.
We have to talk about that because that was weird.
Yeah, well, getting there.
Yeah. So, and now we see Quincy say, "You don't have to save everyone." Which what do you guys think he meant by "you don't have to save everyone"? I think like maybe he's like talking like him and everybody else in the clan that he wants to save.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he's rushing to do all these things for Poppy, right? He feels like that's his responsibility. And I think Quincy's telling him she can do things for herself, you know, be a partner with her, like let her be autonomous. Yeah. Don't like rush in to be her white knight.
I feel like Tora might have saved maybe Gil, and that's like the thing. And maybe Goliath, that he was trying to save Goliath. And maybe that's also how, like where it was involved for Goliath to betray him, because we know that happened. No. So yeah, I feel like maybe, you know, Tora has a streak of like wanting to save people and protect them, and maybe Quincy's like, you don't have to do this for everyone. Like,
I love his face. Also, his facial expression is just so perfect.
Awesome.
Yes. And I just love him. So such a good boy.
Yeah. And so now he goes into his, you know, Quincy being Quincy. He says, my therapist says it's called codependent, and it just gets cut out because all Tora is hearing is blah 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 blah, and then more blah 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 and more blah blah blah. You just see his irritated face.
Sorry, Quincy.
Yeah, we love you, but you know, we could have, like, I know I'd have like so much patience as just to like hearing like people just like rant about what's this called and what it does to you.
Yeah,
he's hilarious.
He is.
I'm sure he's saying very insightful things, so I feel bad.
Yeah, I'm like, no, Tora, let him talk. I need to hear it. I need to have a secondhand therapy. Are you kidding?
And then we get this funny scene where
we got one more thing. I feel totally, I don't know why I would mention this right away. The fact that he had talked about codependency with his therapist means that Quincy is dealing with codependency for himself. I don't think he talked to his therapist about Tora being codependent. I think that Quincy is struggling with some level of codependency. Do you have any thoughts on that?
This is a really good point. Please,
it is.
If you don't mind, what is codependence exactly?
I have the internet, you know, definition knowledge. Okay, let me look up an internet definition so that, because my rattling off something is not going to be great. Codependency. circular relationship in which one person needs the other person, who in turn needs to be needed. The codependent person, known as the giver, feels worthless unless they are needed by and making sacrifices for the enabler, otherwise known as the taker. Okay, there's a person coming to mind. And I know that's like this. Okay. Trying to think. Quincy. I feel like Quincy's the needy one. He's probably more of a giver than a taker.
I don't know. We don't really know his relationship with his dad.
Yes, I'm very curious about that.
Yes, we like it. But do you guys think it's like a good or a bad one? Like, just given how I don't know. It's like really hard to. I want to say it's like maybe a mix of both.
Wait, good and bad like relationship with his dad?
Yeah, with his dad. Like, did they have some moments where it was just like fights and stuff, but it was all right? Or do you think like it just got to the point where as Quincy was like growing older, he was starting to see like all the bad stuff that Vincent was doing, and that made him want to like stay away from him?
Yeah, probably. We went to the beach with him when he was younger. I think that's the only interaction I can really think of.
Yeah, I personally don't get the vibe that they have a close relationship. Like, I feel like Quincy's maybe like an asset. And if you see how like Vincent treats Goa, like he's just candy crushing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think it was like, oh, I'm just gonna give Quincy everything. He's my son, my spawn, whatever. But I don't think that they interacted much. Personally, my headcanon is that he actually interacted much more with Tora, even though it was not in a good way. Like that Quincy got a lot of benefits or whatever, or like, he was basically spoiled, but that they didn't have a loving relationship. And because if they did, I get the feeling that Quincy is very much on his mom's side.
Yeah.
This is like Alton honor and stuff like that. I feel like if he had a close relationship with his dad, he might feel a little bit more conflicted, and he wouldn't have to like get his mom to protect Tora from his dad. That's how I read it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there might have been a moment or a series of moments where like you said, Sarah, he realized who his dad was. And that's when he started drawing away from him and being like, okay, my dad, I thought he was, a great guy. And then it turns out he's horrible, which must have been very painful for him. So I'm going to assume happened.
So now this part was funny. It's we see Tora saying, don't have enough money to go for therapy, but I have enough for a haircut. I'm gonna get one now, so you find going downhill.
Favorite panel ever. I want to use this as the cover. It's the best panel.
Yeah, he just tosses
so funny.
Quincy out. What made me laugh even more is just the way Quincy is getting tossed out. Like, he has like his legs crossed, and he's just like going along with it.
This poor guy. Also, he just like spent all this money on the house, and does he really not have enough money for therapy? I don't know.
Yeah, like, really? You bought a house, yet you just say you don't want to go to therapy.
Yeah, I don't think it was a real excuse, and I don't think he was meaning for it to be a real excuse. He was just like, oh, before I didn't have an excuse, and now I have one. So
why do you think he wanted to get a haircut? Because I thought it might have been Quincy like egging him on and being like, oh, like, I don't know, try a haircut, maybe she'll like you better or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
That is.
Yeah, I think that could be true because we saw in that one episode where both him and Tora go into a giant goldfish, and then we see him like telling Tora like something about his shirt, so maybe maybe Quincy did like convince him to get one.
I think maybe Tora just thought even on himself, like, I should get a haircut. It might sway her.
Yeah.
Maybe he just wanted something new. I mean, if we like look at the flashbacks, his hair changed frequently.
Meaning on how he styled it.
But yeah, it was like a couple different colors.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't, it's funny because I always assumed Tora would be like not the kind of person to think about his hair too much, but you're right, he does.
Yeah. Plus there's that moment when he like when he goes for the date with Poppy, like their first meeting, where they end up at Alice's and he's like fussing about his hair nonstop.
Yes, true.
I think he does care.
Mm.
Yeah, and he was even asking Quincy for like some hair gel.
I guess he realizes that his hair just looks amazing, even in a messy bun.
Yes.
It's not fair.
And this panel reminds me of that one meme where it's like the husband, I guess, and the wife. It's like, do you like, well, whatever it's on there, and then apparently the wife says, no, I don't like it, and the husband tosses her out. That meme like remind me of like this panel reminded me of that meme.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to Quincy saying, phew, that was a long ass flashback. Sorry. I still stand by what I said though.
That was a great fourth wall break.
Yeah.
They're funny.
And this is an incredibly long episode.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
Like it's amazing. I was so impressed. Like it just wouldn't stop. It's like, oh, we got more.
Yes, and the thing with me was like, wait, in MP when it comes to the story, it's like I like slowly take my time because I've had that like I'd be like not like fast but not slow either. Maybe like some like even pace. I'll be reading through it, and some episodes that were like short, I'm like, man, I read too fast. So that's why I like with MPO, I'm just like taking my time and reading.
Yeah.
And so now we hear Quincy and present day say, anyway, I know you're having a rough time shouldering the silence right now, but give it more time. It's a lot. She needs it's a lot, and she needs a ton of space to process this shit. Speaking as a professional romance novelist.
You're so funny, Quincy. But you see how Tora is taking it in, right?
Yeah.
For all his bluster, he really is listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and now we see and then Tora says, yeah, okay. And it's like, attaboy.
Oh, look how proud Quincy is.
Yeah.
I'm glad, Tora did. It was only 2 words, but he did do some acknowledgement that he received Quincy's words.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he says, and then Tora says, but you're one to talk. Why the fuck did you ask her to exchange a few words with him if that's the case? Which it's like, yeah, if, like Quincy, if you know that, she's mad and she doesn't want to talk to him, what makes you think telling her, oh, just exchange a few words, it's gonna like make her want to talk to him?
Yeah.
You tried. I think Quincy just can't go without trying to help.
Well, yeah, and I guess that's an important thing, Quincy's trying to help.
Yeah.
Good
boy. I love him. Such a good heart. And I said like a billion times in this episode, but still.
Yeah.
And then Quincy's like, you're giving my words too much credit, bro. I can barely get her to take me seriously on a daily basis. Oh my goodness. And then after that, we see Tora saying, and like, I'm begging for scraps, humiliate me some more. Why don't you? And hear Quincy say, was that why you went and hid yourself, you sucker? Yeah, you're one to talk.
Aww.
Yeah. And then we get, and this is the one that I was more interested in talking about. Then we see Quincy say, but you know what I think? And then Tora's like, what? And he says, I think more than being upset at you, she's actually pretty fucking scared right now, which we know that's true.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, look at that face Tora's making. Like, it's really nice that we have the panel after where it like softens in a kind of rueful way, because he looks mad. Like he looks almost, like angry as he hears this. But I think it's like angry at himself because it's like a hard-hitting truth, like she's scared. And I don't know that Quincy needed to tell him that. I feel like maybe he knew, but maybe he didn't want to think about it as well.
Yeah, because Bobby's like the first actual civilian that like him having a civilian and bobbling his stuff is all new to him. So it's like, how do I approach this person and say, there's a chance your life is in danger right now?
Yeah, I think he's mad at himself and for putting her in this situation and realizing oh shoot, I did this to her.
Yeah, and it's he has told himself in season 1, there was in 2 occasions he kept saying get out of her life, and well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then Tora's yeah, I know.
Yep. And now we have a view of the compound wall, and we see Quincy's feet coming along, and we hear Poppy sniffing, which sounds like she's been crying. So Quincy, in his great wisdom, scrapes his shoe so that she can hear him approaching, which is so sensitive of him, so intelligent, so intuitive. Love you, Quincy. And he's kind of behind his back, kind of like a meek posture. He's trying to make himself non-intimidating. And Poppy's sitting there. She's hugging herself, basically. She does not look like she's very emotionally happy at all. Leaning down, her hands, chin's on her hand. And she wipes away her, she turns her face away from him and wipes her eyes. So clearly she's been crying. And she's like, oh, hey, Quince, what's up? He's like, anything but work, I should hope. Which I think is Quincy's attempt to distract her from the situation, put some humor in, let her, let her have some levity.
Yeah. I agree. I think so as well.
And she turns around, she's like, is it really that bad working with me? Which, total distraction, nothing related to their circumstances now. He's kind of being, teasing. And he has this little smile on his face. And because I think he knows that he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
So cute. And he's like, you mean working for you? She's like, gasp, I don't mean to be pushy with you at work. I'm just trying to strive for excellence. Yeah, exactly. Which reminds me, I'll have to figure out what to do with Mr. Lamb's account. And I've been vexing over this all weekend too. He's like, we'll do that when you're settled. Okay, don't worry. Oh,
Yeah.
Sweet. It's just so sensitive to her. Anyway, the kitchen will only be ready in a couple of days. So Tora went out to get dinner. Do you think he's trying to remind Poppy how Tora's doing nice things for them?
Yeah,
maybe, or just so she knows where he's at, because they're going back to the house, and I feel like she would probably be ooh, where is he? And so she doesn't have to, because I feel like if I was in Poppy's shoes, if we approached somewhere where Tora would be, I would be wanting to see where he is, but also not wanting to look where he is, so it's kind of hey, you don't have to worry, he's getting dinner, no need to steal yourself right now, basically. He's just being, Quincy is being amazing in this episode. He's doing all the very thoughtful right things.
Yep, that's why I'm marrying him in my webtoon world.
Yeah.
And it's okay, and he's and then she says, oh, by the way, nice try with the wheedling, but I'm still not talking to him, just so you know.
Wait, is this about the plant?
Plant?
What what is a wheedling?
Oh, wheedling is nudging someone. It's repeatedly just bothering them with the same thing. What?
Oh,
it's not a weed. A weed is WEED.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought, but I was like, what? I didn't realize that this was a an ing word, you know, like
Yeah.
weedling. I thought this was like a weedling.
Yeah.
What is that? I thought it was a thing.
No, to be honest, I also thought I'm like, what is this about a plant?
Mhm. Yep. And Quincy's like, I know. Wouldn't expect any less from the chief executive hamster. I love his expression. I love that face. He can't stop
That's
himself.
amazing.
You can't hold it in. Just let it out, Quincy. We can all laugh. I know I'd be laughing too. Just let it all out, Quincy.
She would be mad if he did, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that face. It's so cute. And she's like, pardon me? He's like, nothing. But seriously, Pops, try reducing the volume of your headphones. I can hear Queen Bee, Beyonce, all the way from the front after I finish talking about myself.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still sour about that.
He's like, I was trying to entertain you. And he's like, really? He's like, what? He's like,
Yeah, I've done that where like I was me and two friends, we were going out to eat somewhere after our class was over, and then my friend who was driving, like, because you know, like we were all we were like one of my other friends, she was sitting in the front, I was sitting in the back. Me and my friend who was sitting in the front, we were listening to our own music, and my friend, she's like, I could hear Ariana. I could hear you listening to Ariana Grande. You need to like lower the volume down on your music. I'm like, I can't help it.
Mhm. Also, the fact that he refers to her as Queen Bee and not Beyonce,
Yeah.
I mean, you know he's a fan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love him. And she's like, really? Is that why I'm losing my hearing? Instead of a fudge biscuit, you might be onto something there.
Yeah.
So yeah, good distracting him. And then we fade to black.
I was so fucking confused.
I figured it was a dream because it's faded a little bit. So we have honk and Poppy's slamming against the window. She's like, help, someone let me out. And
I
we have
didn't
Jackson.
immediately realize that it was
Yeah.
a dream. I thought because it's dark and there's a honk, I was like, if we just do a massive time jump and she's being kidnapped.
You know, like I don't know about you guys, but because I've read stories where, like, you know, if it's like somebody having like a nightmare or something, you know, it fades to black, and that's all you see is like darkness. So when I like first saw this, I'm like, oh no, either Poppy herself is having a nightmare about herself, or maybe it's Tora who's having a nightmare about her.
Yeah.
So at first I thought, oh, okay, somebody's having a nightmare. Until, you know, we got further into it.
Yeah. Did you know what that next panel is?
So it's a seal, apparently.
Yeah, but like when I saw this, I was confused as hell.
What do you think it was?
I mean, because I was like, oh, she's being kidnapped. I thought it was a bag over her head.
Yes. I thought like it had like maybe she was getting kidnapped or something.
Yeah.
It's definitely very comedic. Like it's over exaggerated proportions and it's just funny.
Yeah.
And it's just like, someone help, I'm trapped in here. No, get away from me, you jerk. And it's, you see like this big giant gray thing against the windshield of a car.
Yeah.
It's like honk, honk. And then you see the whole view, and it's this giant seal against the car. And she's like, stop, or I'll report you to the ocean conservatorship. Like totally random.
Why, before we move on to deliciousness, obviously we know where the seal, elephant seal or whatever it was called, came from. Do you think it's like her feeling trapped by Tora? Because it is on his pants. Like obviously she's feeling trapped, right?
Yeah, that's a good observation right there. Maybe it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took it as comedic, but I think you're right. But I will say that the seal is not threatening. You know, the seal is funny. So I think that like even if she feels trapped by him, I think she recognizes like he's not doing it maliciously.
Or if you want to go meta in the other direction, it could be like, even though it's like a cute kind of harmless thing, it's really caging her in and like keeping her trapped. But it could be comedic. I mean, it could be that it's just like it could be that it's just because he's like holding her as she's sleeping that she's dreaming about these elephant seals. But I took it to be symbolic for how she's feeling. But then again, we don't know how far in the future we are right now. Because if it's that evening, you have to seriously explain to me what the heck happened.
Yeah. So let's do that. Okay, so she's like, I do think it's that evening because of what she says now when she wakes up. She's like, huh? It's gone. I'm back in my room, but I'm still in a dream. Why does the room look strange? So I think the fact that she still thinks she's in her room means that they just moved into the house.
Yeah, true.
Looking up at the ceiling, she's like, oh, it's not my room at Pattygrass Hill. Like she went all the way back to her childhood home. She's like, I'm at Felicia.
Pattygrass Hill is her apartment in Nyron.
Oh, it is? Oops.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. I'm at Felicia Bay now, right? And then she's groggy, and then we see a view. We see a massive bicep. It's Tora, and we see a pair of his booty with that elephant seal on it, and his legs. Then you see another set of legs with orange shorts, which is Quincy, and they're all sleeping there, and his hands like over her. It looks like, and we see her face. Her hair is like all loose, and Tora is like on her hair, so she's been sleeping right next to him. Yeah, looks again at the elephant seal booty, and she gets up and she's like, so many dead elephant seals, it's so heavy, and it looks like she rolls kind of out from under Tora's arm.
Yeah, but she's still holding his arm,
and they're in the weirdest position ever. They're on the floor, they're all half naked, and Quincy's like massive thighs in the foreground, and he's like I think it looks like he's suffocating Tora. Like he's literally his stomach is like on Tora's head.
Yeah. In the next panel, it looks a bit different. Like the next panel that we see their heads, it looks different. But here it just looks like Tora's head is in his crotch, basically. Like
but we know Tora's head was right near hers. It doesn't look like in the first, if you go up front, right, a little bit.
I think it's just a perspective thing. So that we could get like a full view as well of like Tora's booty
and Quincy's massive eyes. I'm just like giant.
Honestly, Poppy, I know she has a lot going on, right? Like this is everyone's dream, right?
I don't know, but it's very, very strange. Why are they? Okay, let's just read a little more. And she looks there and she's like, jolt. She gets up and she's looking very sexy. Her hair is loose. She's wearing like a nightie, probably. You know, it's very pretty revealing. And she's like, now wait a gosh darn minute. And then she sees Quincy, and he's like thrown up over Tora, his arms around him. And it says, fell asleep only an hour ago. And he's like, has a blue face. So poor guy couldn't fall asleep. And Tora says, slept like an effing baby.
Which is rare.
So also, how did this happen? Why are they all sleeping on the floor together?
I thought she's wearing a nightie as well, right? But we need to do a little detectiving.
Yeah.
In the panel where we first see his boxer shorts, like the first panel we see of them in bed, if you zoom in the crook of his arm, that's part of Poppy's body, right? The red.
Yeah, because you can see like red, and you know, Poppy's like wearing like a reddish kind of nightgown thing.
Yeah, and it's like
it's a two-piece.
It's her belly button. She's wearing either a bra and panties.
What the heck?
Or like shorts and a tank top, but
probably shorts and a tank top, probably.
Like
it's too loose to be a bra. It looks pretty loose.
Yeah, well, yeah, it could be like a not wired one. I also heard somebody was saying that her breasts must be magical, because if you sleep with something that's cut this way, they are not inside when you wake up.
Especially for someone big breasted like her. So yeah,
I can tell you from experience, a cute underwear like this, don't sleep in it, because you wake up and everything is everywhere.
Right. So how did they get here? In what world did Poppy agree to sleep on the floor with two half naked guys?
I can only imagine that she didn't agree. Like, I can only imagine that this is not how it was meant to go. Like, or that maybe they're always so tired that they passed out. But then again, they were all half naked. Like, It's not like they were all lounging in their pajamas or like comfy clothes and then fell asleep.
I don't think there was an orgy. I really don't. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, no, so for me it's like one of two things. One, either they all three were aware that they were gonna have to sleep in the same room, and they had like spaced out from each other, and so maybe Tora decided to want to get close to her, and then maybe Quincy might have saw it, decided he wanted to join in on it too.
Big house. It's
Yeah.
a really big house.
Here are my thoughts, right? Poppy packed her entire apartment, right? First of all, there was a bed in there.
Did you take furniture? You think a bed would have fit in that truck? That van that they took?
I think so. It was like her only piece of furniture that she had that was not part of the apartment, I think. Maybe it was part of the apartment. Who knows? Okay, let's say they didn't set it up. It didn't fit in the truck. It was part of the apartment. She didn't bring a bed. That's fine. They were moonbright, right? Everything was like cute and romantic. They were making out in the water. She was like, can't say it because that's a Patreon thing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There was a lot of chemistry and they chose to not sleep in the same bed. If they had chosen to lay down like this, why are they not wearing t-shirts? Like, if they're like, okay, listen, there's only one bed, we all have to share it. They're
not even on a bed, they're on the floor.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks like they're laying on something, right? Like, but I would have thought that either Poppy would be like, no, put on a shirt. Or Tora would like, just put on a shirt because of course he wants to get closer to her. But he's been sulking. We've just seen him say like, yeah, she doesn't even like the fact that I'm alive. He's not expecting her right now to want to talk to him. He's not seeming to make any effort to want to like make her talk to him. I feel like we're missing a massive gap. Like I just can't imagine that they just had dinner and they're like, we're gonna lay next to each other half naked. Even if they didn't start the night cuddling, like there's that trope, like you wake up and you've all been cuddling. She would have worn more clothes. She brought her whole apartment. She had clothes that are more, like it just it threw me so for a loop. I was staring at
maybe this is very far-fetched. Maybe it's very hot and the air conditioner is not working yet, and they had clothes in the beginning of the night, but they just kept taking more layers off. I don't know.
Oh, we're living the Wattpad fantasies right now.
Okay, so I have a funny story. Okay, I will tell you this. How TMI should I go? I usually sleep with clothes on. Okay, I always like to sleep with clothing. That's just how I am. I mean, pajamas, right? No matter what has happened before, I put my clothing on. Okay, one day, one day, my husband and I went to a brand new apartment. This is really true. Brand new place. We had an air mattress. This was before, like, first day we moved in, and it was in Memphis, Tennessee. It was 110 degrees in the apartment. We had a thermometer. It was 110 degrees in the apartment. We did not sleep with clothing because it was so unbearably hot. So maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, I feel like we all have that one because I know like the apartment I live in right now, it's like really, really old, so it does get like stuffy in here. So like every time there's it's like the summer, or even if it's not in the summer, even if it's just like a regular day, it still gets too like stuffy in my room that I end up I either don't sleep with like a pajama shorts, or I don't sleep with a shirt, or sometimes I won't sleep with either because of how hot it can get. It's like I have my own fan because the ceiling fan it's not enough, and we just have like a lot of fans, and we have an AC. That's all, like, or at least for me, that's how bad it is in my apartment.
Yeah, I mean, it could be really hot, but I don't know. The way I think of Poppy, I would think even if it's unbearably hot,
She would keep it on.
she would just like lay there, and be like, God, I'm so hot, but I'm not gonna take off clothes because she doesn't want to talk to him.
Also, I frankly like have enough money to go to a freaking hotel. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, they could go to a hotel and be in 3 separate rooms.
You know, I mean, I guess that would defeat the point of a safe house, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm absolutely sure. I'm absolutely convinced that we are messing. We're missing
time.
a lot of information. Like,
Yeah,
there
has to be.
something happened.
Yeah, so you know what? Okay, so let's revise the thesis. The fact that she wakes up and looks at the ceiling, maybe it doesn't mean that's the next day, but maybe it's still relatively early in their time at this house. I don't know. I can't make it make sense. We have to.
Yeah. I think my prediction for next week, we are not picking up here.
We're gonna go to like Gil or something.
Well, oh. No, I was just thinking, I think before we get back to this point, because it's a very juicy point that people want to get to, it would be very clever to start back of like, how do we get here, you know? Or maybe we still pick up there, but I think there's a flashback missing. Then again, I thought that there was something missing when we met Cordy, and Poppy's like, oh, I saw you outside. And I was like, wait, tell me about this. And we never did get that. So I don't know.
It's fascinating. That's for sure. I'm very curious.
Yeah. Sarah, what was your like go-to? Was it that Tora was trying to make a move on her?
I think you're right. I don't think he would do that because of how they've been, she's been treating him.
And he respects Poppy and her space.
Yeah. Why do you think that Quincy couldn't sleep?
I feel like that might be his own drama. Maybe there's something else going on in his life. Maybe it's like a conversation with Cordy or his dad or his mom or something.
It could also be as simple as that the floor is not luxurious enough.
Fine. Yes, that makes sense.
But,
Or maybe, and we just don't know it. Maybe it's just like he might have insomnia or something, and that's why he can't sleep.
yeah. I also do want to emphasize though, to the listeners, I don't want to say that Poppy would never dress like sexy to sleep next to Tora or like want to make a move, because we did see her in Moonbright be like, oh, I want to feel a bit sexy tonight. I just think where we left off, she was not in the headspace where she would want to be sexy. Unless she's like, gonna show him what he can't have.
Or unless they had a massive discussion before they went to bed and made up somehow.
Yeah, honestly, I need the next episode.
What?
This one just came to me, and it's a really, really wild one. I know probably not, but what I'm like thinking, maybe Poppy and Quincy maybe got, I mean, I know we haven't seen like Quincy, like we don't know like if he can handle alcohol or not, but it's like I want to say like, okay, maybe Poppy and Quincy like just got like drunk somehow. Maybe Quincy was the first one to like have his shirt off and stuff. Maybe Poppy was the one who decided to like also like be like in the clothing she's in, and maybe Tora didn't drink, but maybe he wanted to join in on it too.
Maybe he did drink.
Yeah, that might explain some things.
So many like possibilities.
Yeah. I need next week.
Thank you. Oh, we're so close to 100 episodes.
I know, it's so exciting.
Well, yeah, I'm flabbergasted. That's all. It's very, very intriguing.
Yeah, it was like a relatively cohesive episode, and then we got the nightmare, and then we got that, and I was just like, don't leave me here. Like, I was so excited about how long the episode was, and at the end I was like, no more.
Yeah, it's like confusing and comedic.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys want to do a fun bonus question? I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you to my current patrons: Susie, Leah Libris, Lily, Jenny, Molly, Veronica, Emily, Joe Rochelle, Saucy Toggles, Meg, Anne Rose, Priya, Alexa, Misty, Joanne, Patty, Milda, Esther, I'm Watching People, Taurus, Papa Seed, Marie, Emily, Jean, Jen, Erin, Kay, Lily, Beckett, Duranda, Christine, Sadie, Kelly, Daniel, Teresa, Mrs. Castaldo, Kaylee, and Jen. Your support is truly appreciated.